Well, you come over from the Giants as an assistant offensive line coach, and you get thrown right into the fire, and you're going up against their two big boys in Notre Dame. What have you been telling your offensive linemen this week?
Well, when I came in, and Alan Mogers has done a fantastic job with that group as the offensive line coach, we kind of put in what we did at the Giants, which up front can be a little bit more complex, a lot of calls, a lot of helping, and if they didn't know why, now they know why, because we have to do a good job of trying to, get 2-on-1s when they're there. They're not always going to be there, but if they're there, we have to rally to help and see where the problem is, and so it's going to take 5 guys trying to win their one-on-one and then create a double team when we can.
Matt, if in the quarterback change, they don't have the same running back that they had last year, how similar will their offense be? It was a huge running attack last year. Yeah,
I think they still have 4 really good running backs. The biggest thing is they still have that offensive line. They have an entire group that's as well coached and plays as well up front as anybody in the country. So they'll come out, they'll run the football. And Tommy Rees, he has 18 career starts. So as you go back and look at the times he has started or has gone into play, it is the same offense. And even when Golston was playing, he wasn't as much of a runner as you think. He would kind of run around and create plays, but they weren't really a zone read or option or quarterback run team. So I think the offense will look a lot, look the same. It'll be, you look at their roster when they lose a guy, they replace him. They replace him with Jalen Strong as number 1 outside linebacker recruit in the country, replaces an outside linebacker, 5-star kid. So they'll have talent, they'll have people. I think their system will look pretty much the same.
What have you seen from Tommy Rees on film that really impresses you, catches your eye?
Well, he doesn't get sacked. He knows how. He's a smart. He's really smart. He gets blitz over here, he throws hot. They have a complex system. They throw hot, they sight adjust. He has the ability to move in the pocket. So he doesn't take sacks. He doesn't take negative plays. He's a smart and heady quarterback. And the biggest thing I'll say is, man, the guy goes in and closes games last year and wins. They need him to go in and play. He goes in and plays, and he wins the game for them. So without him, they don't do what they did last year. So he's someone I'm sure everyone in that program respects.
How much of a test is their offensive line for you? Because you got a bunch of new faces, not new faces, but guys who haven't been the regulars outside of Levi Brown. How much of a challenge?
Yeah, I think in the run game, we're going to have to keep it out at 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4. We're going to have to stop the run to have a chance, and then we have to find a way to manufacture pressure. Their 2 tackles are outstanding prospects. We're going to have a hard time getting pass rush if we're not playing really well. So we're going to have to do a great job with the pass rush attacking that offensive line, and that's really where the most of their strength lies on the offense.
How confident are you with your secondary right now going up against their passing attack?
I think we're going to play a lot of guys, so we've had some guys banged up. So it's a group that if I sat here and said, I know what's going to happen, I'd be lying to you. I'm saying I try not to lie to you guys. So, they're going to have to come together. Do I know we can do it? Absolutely. But they're going to have to go out and gel. Anthony Roby's going to have to play a great game. I know Anthony Roby can play a great game. He's going to have to go out and play. Tavon's going to have to go out and play a great game. Our safeties are going to have to show up. So that's an area for us where they're going to have to limit their big plays. They throw the ball down to Jones down the sideline. He goes up and makes plays on the ball. They have some outstanding deep ball guys. So that's an area for us where we'll have to wait and see how we play and know that we're going up against an outstanding passing game.
You have Anthony. Who are your starters now in the secondary going into this?
We're going to start Roby and Young, and we're going to start Abdul and Stefan unless something changes, 24 hours. But we're going to play a bunch of safeties, so we'll rotate those guys in. But basically, those will be our 4 starters.
It's going to be a raucous atmosphere. It could be the loudest that any of these players have ever experienced. I know you guys have practiced with music before, but is that going to play a factor, you think, or is it just another game when kickoff starts?
Nah, the noise is definitely a factor. When I worked for Coach Flaherty, he would always talk about, at that level, you come down to Philly to play the link at the Giants, you go to Dallas, you have to have poise and the noise, and that's not just a saying, that's a legitimate thing where, if I'm an offensive lineman, if I can't see the ball and I can't hear, how am I going to react? I can't be late, I'll get the quarterback killed. So handling the crowd noise is a legitimate factor, and it's one we've been practicing. We have silent cadences, we have all kinds of little things to help us, but at the end of the day, when you get out there, you have to go do it, and so it'll be a good experience for us because it will be the loudest place we go this year. So,
how much more confident are you now, Matt, with Connor from when you got here in December through spring camp into where you are?
I'm light years ahead of where I was. You think about it, I let him go play baseball at the beginning of spring. Just think about how far he's come. Talk about a journey. The first camp weekend, I think he was on a baseball trip. Right. So, I have confidence in him that he'll go play well, and I have confidence in Juice if he has to go and he'll play well. And we scrimmaged at the end to get PJ another 11 or 12 reps. I have confidence if PJ has to go and he'll play well. But I think Connor's bought in and he's worked really hard, and I think he'll play well.
What does that say about Connor and his ability to digest the play playbook in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, well, the playbook's really the same for all those guys. They've all had to learn a new. Like next year, this will be so. I tease the young receivers. I say, hey, this time next year it'll be the same plays. You'll be almost bored. Right now, you think you're looking at me like I'm crazy, but Connor's worked really hard, and he's tried to even technically. Sats worked hard on him technically to develop some things so he can be more accurate. So he's come a long way, and it'll be. This is just the first step for him in a long season. So it's one thing to say here it is. Well, okay, you play this game. Well, we also have to play 12 more games. So keep developing each week until you're a fantastic quarterback.
The fact that he left baseball, that speaks to his commitment.
Yeah, I think he played baseball because he's a competitor. He wanted to do something. So here, he could have transferred to another school where they were dropping back, but he was a Temple out and he wanted to be here. So what did he do? He went over and played baseball. He wanted to help, and he signaled and did whatever he could to help us on this side. And then when it came time to play football and he had a chance and offense that fit him, he jumped right back in here. So he's a competitor, and he's a very loyal kid to the university.
Inside the facility, I saw you have all these "Play Like a Champion" signs today, and you have the Irish mascot. What was the thought process behind putting up all those signs?
And we'll do that every week. You want game week to feel different. I always had a hard time coming out of training camp into the first game. It always feels like it kind of hits you. So, when they came in Tuesday, it'll be every week. You guys will see them. Whoever we're playing, I want them to know the opponents. I want them to know the traditions. I want them to see it. I want them to just feel it as they go in inside the locker room. It's probably 10 times worse. So, I'm not going to pretend that we're not going to South Bend. I think that's ludicrous. I want our guys to enjoy it, because if we could go out there and we can compete at that level and it's not too much for us, then that's one major hurdle for the program, and we can build on that, because there'll be other games where maybe you're going somewhere where no one's there. Well, we're going to play flat then because there's no one there. I want us to be able to go play anywhere, anytime versus whoever they lay out in front of us and play as well as we can. So that's kind of just the whole concept between putting those things up.
And that kind of speaks to my next question. Sometimes you might look at the schedule and say, well, if this game were maybe in the middle of the schedule and they had Michigan after you guys, maybe they might look beyond you guys potentially, but there's no chance of that happening.
Well, I think I think you listen to Coach Kelly's press conference. He always talks about coming off a loss in the first game. So yeah, I think every week for us, we're always going to anticipate playing their best and taking their best shot, because we cannot control who they are. They might go out and face someone that's significantly not as good as us, someone significantly better. All we can control is how well we play, and I hold ourselves, coaches and players, accountable. We have to play as well as we can possibly play each and every week, and the things will usually work out as the year goes on.
How are you injury-wise?
Pretty good. We have a couple guys that Khalifa Urban probably won't be able to go. Chris Hutton came back and worked a little bit today for the first time, but he won't be able to go. Deion Miller won't be able to go. So we have some guys, that we were counting on. 3 guys that have played for the starter for us that we're counting on.
Middle linebacker, you set there?
I think Allen's going to start the game.
Okay, good.